Welcome. In this video, we continue with Fight 4 of Expedition Mode in AEONS End, the New Age. For setup, I'm just following the rules on page 8, 9, 10, and 11. So going over our player setup, turn order deck, going through our treasures, the Nemesis setup, and then finally supplies setup. We're staying with our same breach mage here. We've got 10 health. Our breach is out. Starting hand is 4 crystals and Gift of Spirit. And then for our starting deck, we've traded in the spark for the torch and 4 crystals. For our level 2 treasure, I'm staying with the bones of Deathmind. When a player opens a breach, that player gains a charge. Start of any player's turn, if that player has no closed breaches, that player gains a charge. We'll see if I can remember to enact that all the time. And then following our last battle, we opened up level 3 treasures. I'm going to go with the Forgotten Trinket. Start of your first turn of the game, focus each of your closed breaches once. And we have Gravehold at 30 health. Our turn order deck. Got our Nemesis cards and 4 for ourselves. Randomize that real quick. Then we can move on to the Nemesis, which gets us to Battle 4 Introduction. With the final treasures and Talix recovered, you realize this means the end of your long and dangerous journey. Saskel confirms that everyone missing from his team is accounted for, and all of you are relieved to finally head home. You turn back towards New Gravehold, but only make it a few steps out of the clearing before you stumble in a divot in the ground. Pushing away the dead leaves, you see a gigantic paw print as wide across as your arm. You shiver as a snowflake lands on your cheek. Snow in this climate. Suddenly the wind picks up and the gentle snow turns into a raging blizzard. Squinting against the storm, you see 6 glowing eyes. Your blood turns to ice as the Nameless lets out a mind-shattering howl. We will open envelope 4 and then deck 4 and use those cards to create the Nemesis deck. We're going to get 4 new upgraded basic cards. And then we are going to fight Fenrix. So, envelope 4. Got a card divider for this new Nemesis. Then we have position tokens for 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then our Nemesis. This one is a difficulty of 7. For setup, each player gains a position token that matches their player color. That's something we can go ahead and do. Place the claw cards face down to form the claw deck. Soon we'll see those shortly. If you're playing with 1 player, the Nemesis gets 2 Nemesis tokens. Of course, 2 players gets 2 tokens, and 3 gets 1 token. So we're starting with 2 Nemesis tokens. And I'll just be using these for those tokens. Then on his other side, 60 health. And additional rules. At the end of the Nemesis turn, if Fenrix has 4 or more Nemesis tokens, place a claw into play, and Fenrix loses 2 Nemesis tokens. Repeat this until he has less than 4 Nemesis tokens. When a claw is discarded from play, place it face down on top of the claw deck, and return all position tokens on that claw to the corresponding players. During any player's main phase, a player may place their position token on a claw, even if it's already placed on a claw. So during our main phase is going to be after we cast. And then we prevent all damage dealt to claws by players without a position token on that claw. And when the claw deck is empty, the players lose. Well, at least when we defeat one or discard it, it goes back on top. So we'll see what that's all about. So our stop 4 deck, we have some upgraded basic cards, level 1, 2, and 3s. Then we've got our 0 claw cards. So there's 5 of those. We'll make a separate stack of that. Then we have our Sumer 9 Fenrix, so level 1. level 2, and level 3. And then to finish the Nemesis deck, we're going to add 1 to Tier 1, 3 to Tier 2, and 7 to Tier 3, starting with our upgraded basics. So we'll take our 1, shuffle them with the others we have, and then choose 1 to go on top. Our level 2s. We're going to get 3 of these. And then our level 3s, we're going to get 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we're getting all of those. We'll shuffle those in here to start our Nemesis stack. Then our level 2s will go on top of that after we shuffle those together. And then our level 1s. Then we can update our supply here. The additional cards we got from the last battle was an Unrefined Blaststone, gain 3 ether, or destroy a card in this card supply pile if you do deal 3 damage. So it's a gem costing 6. And I'm good with the gems we have out there. Got a relic costing 6, a link conduit. Attach this to any player's breach. 2 spells may be prepped to this breach. Seems like it might be good. And yeah, we'll bring that out. Just didn't have much luck with that before, so we'll go ahead and get rid of that. And then we have a Reverberating Shock, which has the Echo ability, which means we do the cast twice. Deal 1 damage, gain an ether that can only be used to gain cards. Spell costing 4, and not too thrilled about that one. And with that completed, we are ready to get started. We will go first. So do our Forgotten Trinket, start of your first turn of the game, focus each of your closed breaches once. So that is done. We will go ahead and prep our Gift of Spirit. We can deal 1 damage or any ally draws a card. Then we are going to spend our 4 gems to create 4 money banked for us, which we will use to get a recurring Jasper. Gain 2 ether. The top card of your discard pile is a spell. You may place this gem on top of your deck. This has been very good on the previous games. Then we'll draw up hand size of 5, getting our torch. Allows us to deal damage or focus any player's breach, and 4 crystals. Next turn is the Nemesis. Got a dodge ability or attack here. So unleash, return any player's position token on a minion to that player, which we don't have. Or unleash, any player suffers 2 damage and discards a card in hand. So we can't do all of that, so we're doing this one. So unleashing, we'll bring out a Nemesis token. And then we will suffer 2 damage and discard a card in hand. Losing a crystal. Next turn is us. We're going to cast this to have us draw a card. Since our deck is empty, we'll make a new one and draw into our Jasper. We'll go ahead and prep our torch. And then spin these to get us 5 ether. And I think I'm going to get 1 more money card, some Energized Rubidium. Gain 3. Any ally may discard a card in hand. If they do, that player gains a charge. Drawing into 5 crystals. Next turn is us. We are going to focus any player's breach. We want to open our 3rd first. Then we'll spin these to get 5 ether. Then going in for my favorite card in this set, the Imbued Smash. Cast, deal 4 damage. You may discard a card in hand. If you do, deal 2 damage to the nemesis. Effects that modify damage affect both instances of damage, i.e. the other side of this. Drawing 1 and 4 more. Next turn is us. I think what we're going to do is use this to gain 3, discard a card in hand so we can gain a charge. We'll discard a crystal, gaining a charge there. So we'll have 3, 4, 5, and 6 money banked up. Going to use 5 to open up a breach, which gives us our +1 damage on cast. And then whenever we open a breach, we'll gain a charge. Prepper spell out. And end our turn. Then I feel like a nemesis is going here. So we're a wreck. We're going to unleash twice, which is going to bring out 2 nemesis tokens. I'm just going to put that down here so I remember. Gravehold suffers 1 damage. Down to 29. So at the end of the nemesis turn, if he has 4 more counters on it, we remove 2 and bring out a claw. 5 health, the Rending Claw, prevent all damage dealt to this minion by players without a position token on this minion. Immediately, any player may place a position token on this minion, which we will do. And persistent effect, any player with a position token on this claw suffers 2 damage, or Gravehold suffers 2 damage. So if we've got our token there, we can choose, and if we don't have a token there, Gravehold just takes the 2 damage. And then we will shuffle for the next round. I don't feel like we got much accomplished, but neither did the nemesis really. Next turn, we'll start with the nemesis. So either we can take 2 damage or Gravehold. We'll go ahead and do it. So down to 6. Then Crazed Whelps, power of 3. Once that goes off, we place 2 claws into play, set the life of those minions to 2. Do not resolve these minions' persistent effect this turn. Next turn is us. We are going to go with the deal 1 damage, +1 on cast. Prep or smash. Prep over here. Bank 3 money. And use that to open up this breach, which will get us a charge. There's 3 cards here. And 2 more. Next turn goes to us. Going to use this to deal 4 damage to get rid of this claw. So we'll get our token back and it goes on top of the stack here. Then its extra ability, so it was dealing 5 damage with the +1. We're going to discard a card to deal another 2 +1, so 3 damage to the nemesis. So we've got a little blood coming off of Fenrix. We will use this to gain 3 money, discard a card to gain a charge. Then put in another 2, so we've got 5. We'll go in for another smash. Then we're going to spend our 4 tokens. Focus any player's breach. Any player gains a life for each open breach you have, so we'll gain 3. This is a great ability. Then end our turn. Next goes to us. We use this to focus a breach, which is going to go ahead and open this. And when we cast from here, Gravehold will heal a life. We'll gain a charge from opening up there. And now at the start of our turn, if we have no closed breaches, we will gain a charge. Hopefully I can remember to do that. Go ahead and prep there. And I'm going to use this, discarding a card to gain a charge. Actually, that's the wrong one. Never mind. Read my cards. So with this one, if the top card of your discard pile has a spell, we may place this on top of our deck. So that's going to get us 2. Put that back on top. We end up with 3 more, so we've got 5. We'll go with another smash. Drawing 2. And 3 more. Nemesis goes. Remove a power. Rally the pack. If there are no claws in play, unleash twice. Otherwise, unleash. Any player suffers 3 damage and places their position token on a claw. That comes in with 2 power, so both these are going to go off the same turn. Then it's going to be our turn. We'll go ahead and deal 2 damage with this one. Down to 55. Prep a spell. Gain 2 money and put this on top of her deck. Gain 3 more. We're up to 5. And start of our turn. I knew I'd be forgetting that. We'll get a charge. So 5 cards for next round. And randomize our turn order deck. In this next round, we'll start with us. So +1 damage on each instant of damage here. So 5 damage, then 3 to the Nemesis with the discard. It's a total of 8, down to 47. Prep another one in there. And once again, forgot my charge. This time we'll choose not to discard. We're up to 6 money. We'll try a bouncing boom out. Drawing 5. Next turn is the Nemesis. Move a power from each of those. Then we get a Hunting Claw with 8 health. Prevent all damage dealt to this by players without a position token on it. When this is discarded, place it in Fenrix's discard pile, just to make sure we don't throw it in the claw. Any player may place a position token on this. We'll go ahead and do that. Then persistent effect, any player with a position token on the claw suffers 2 damage, or Gravehold suffers 2 damage. So pretty much the same stuff as this, except he's a lot healthier. Next turn is us. We'll get our token. We'll use this, dealing 5 damage. Taking this down to 3. Discard a card to do 3 damage to the Nemesis. Prep some spells. We gain charges so easily. I'll go ahead and spin those. We would gain 4 life, but we just max out at 10. Then I'll go ahead and save those 2. Use those to get us a token. Next turn goes to the Nemesis. So these are all going to go off. Place 2 claws into play. Their life at 2, and we do not resolve their effects this turn. So we've seen that before, and looks like they're all going to be the same. And they do not go off this round. If there are no claws in play, unleash twice. Otherwise, unleash. So we'll get a token. Any player suffers 3 damage, down to 7, and places their position token on a claw. Well, we already have our token on a claw, but I think we will move it over to the ones that are in the claw stack that could potentially lose us the game. This resolves. We don't have a token there, so Gravehold takes 2 damage. These 2 do not do anything. Then we find a Needle Doom, 12 health, unleash. Gravehold suffers 2 damage. All right, so we've got a minion problem. We'll spin these 2 to bring out another claw. And we may move our token to that guy. I will go ahead and do that. Then next turn is us. With this, we can deal 5 damage. Take care of that guy. Of course, beginning of our turn, we got a charge token. We'll discard a card to deal 3 damage to the Nemesis, down to 41. Then we will deal 1 damage. We don't have a token on those, so we'll go ahead and just deal 1 here. And Gravehold heals 1. Prep some spells. We'll spin these to bank 2 money. We could end our turn, but if you got room for it, you spend your 2 money and get a charge. Up. Before we end our turn, we are going to put our token on one of these. Then we draw up. Next turn goes to us. We will get our free token, charge, then spin to gain 4 life to get us back up to 10 health. Actually, that waits till after we cast our spells. Sorry about that. A little bit out of order. Put the brakes on, rewind. We'll use this to deal 5 damage. Discard a card to deal 3 to the Nemesis, 38. We'll deal 1 damage to this guy and heal Gravehold 1. Then we go to our main phase. We can break this off, do our healing. Put a position token over here. Put our bouncing boom over on that spot. And smash over here. Got a spell on top of our deck, so we'll gain 2 money. Put this on top. This takes us up to 5 by our last smash. Ends our turn. And shuffle for the next round. And we will start with the Nemesis going. So from that guy, Gravehold will suffer 2, down to 27. From this one, we will take it. And from that one, unleashes, and Gravehold suffers 2 damage, down to 25. Then, players cannot place position tokens on claws this turn. We'll unleash twice. Then the player with the most expensive prep spell places that spell on top of their deck. That was going to help us get rid of that guy and heal us too. All right, so we got that taken care of. These two will go away. Claw comes out. We ignore this because we can't place position tokens on claws this turn. Next turn is us. We will gain a charge. We are going to overkill on this guy. And then discard a card to deal 3 damage over here. Prep a spell. Then we've got 4 money to play with. We'll go with the Force Amplifier. Cast, deal 3 damage. This was cast from an open 3 or 4 breach. Deal 1 additional damage. Then drawing 1 and 4 more. Next turn will be us. We'll gain our charge. I made a mistake and didn't put that on anyone last round. So with this, we will deal 5 damage to that thing. Discard a card to deal 3 over here. Then put our position token over on that. Prep some spells. Play these for money. And spin that to put a charge out. Next turn also goes to us. We'll add that in there. Deal 5 damage. Take care of this guy. Discard a card. Deal 3 over here, so down to 29. Play this to deal a damage here, down to 28, and heal us up to 26. See no reason not to spin that. We'll heal back up. Prep out some spells. We'll player gem to gain a money. Choose not to buy anything. Next turn is us. Gain a charge. Keep forgetting to use that. Deal 5 damage to a minion. Discard a card to deal 3 to the Nemesis. We'll use this to deal 4 damage. It's down to 21. It will heal. We'll discard a card to deal 2 damage, down to 19. And I believe that still heals also. Then we'll play that for 1 damage. And prepper spells. Ending our turn. Nemesis gets to go. So this is going to do 2 damage to Gravehold. Next card pops up, the Sky Trimmer. To discard it, we need to spend 7 money. 1 power on it. It will unleash twice, and Gravehold suffers 4 damage. And I think we're good to shuffle up our turn order. I'm sure you've noticed by now I forgot to use that token again. Next turn is us. I'm going to use this with that to deal 8 damage down to 10. Then we deal 3 damage. If this was cast from a 3 or 4, dealing additional damage. So that's dealing 4 down to 6. And we heal Gravehold up to 25. Then we've got our Echo to deal 2 damage and then 2 damage again. Taking it down to 2. We'll put that up there. Not that we need to. Prep a spell. I will have 2 money from that, 2 from here. We'll use that to bring out 2 charges. Ending our turn. And next round goes to the Nemesis. We will go ahead and take the 2 damage. This will go off, unleash twice. Gravehold suffers 4 damage. Down to 21. New card, spinning 7, the Spring of Fury. Power 3, unleashing twice. Place this next to Nemesis mat for the rest of the game. When a claw is placed into play, place it into play with 1 additional life. Then we deal with that, bringing out a claw. We'll go ahead and move that over. And next turn is us. We will gain a charge. Deal 5 damage over here. Then discard a card to deal 3 damage, which will take out Fenrix. So I must say, the combination of these two to focus everything, gain all these charges, and then our ability to heal was huge. And I think I've said this before, this card is awesome. Along with being able to reuse these to put those on top of our deck. Very good combos. So finishing up our story, since we've defeated Fenrix, your team's final spells dissipate as the battle draws to a close. This fight took a lot out of you. Even Talix's unlimited energy is flagging. Commander Soskull calls for rest, and you sink gratefully to the forest floor, leaning back against a tree. Commander, I found something odd. Rhea presses her ear to the ground and knocks on it 3 times. The noise reverberates strangely as if she's hitting something hollow. I hear banging in here. Rhea feels along the ground and pulls open a hidden trapdoor, revealing an underground bunker. You leap to your feet, ready for yet another battle. Inside is a massive metal figure with tongues of flame spilling from its joints. The armor lifts a hefty blacksmith's hammer and brings it down on a glowing edge of a blade. A squirrel-like creature is curled up on its shoulder, unafraid. The armor seems friendly enough, so you cautiously introduce yourself and it rumbles back. I am lost. Points to the squirrel, meek. All around the little room are weapons and equipment radiating with power. This being must understand breach magic. You try to question Lost further, but you're met with sad confusion. Each word seems like a struggle. My mind is damaged. I was a man, but now I do not know what I am. Who I am? I am far away from my coffin home. Coffin home, Soskull muses. Do you mean Gravehold? Lost nods slowly. Soskull's eyes widen. Are you a breach mage? Lost nods again, and Soskull steps forward, laying a comforting hand on Lost's arm. You're not staying here another second, Lost. We're taking you home. It's impossible to tell from the armor, but you think Lost is smiling. You help gather the artifacts and weapons scattered around this odd Forge Master's abode. Lost grabs his hammer and scratches Meek affectionately on the head. You lead Lost out of the bunker and turn towards home. Finally ready to head back to New Gravehold, he doesn't look back once. So you report to the Council of Elders upon your return to New Gravehold. They listen intently as you recount the fate of Soskel's allies, the rise and fall of Arachnus' plot for power, and the discovery of the strange mage Lost. The Elders thank you for bringing back the treasure Soskel's team had left with, the powerful new weapons from Lost's collection, and for rescuing some of the missing mages. It seems for once that humanity has the upper hand. Suddenly you hear a bang from the entrance to the hall as the doors are slammed open. You sigh, the work of a breach mage is never done. We open Envelope End and the End deck. We'll add those to the collection. And congratulations, you have completed your first expedition. Open the End of Expedition booklet for instructions on how to play more expeditions. That can include all of your AEONS End content. So this booklet is just a one-fold type thing, explaining setup for expeditions, a player setup, how to set up your nemesis for each battle and their tiers, into the expedition and some variants, and resetting the new age. As for the end envelope, we have Lost and his squirrel-like friend. So starts with the Heart Forge. We'll see that here shortly. Read the back side of the mat for further setup instructions. We've got Meek's Might. Return up to 4 cards that cost 0 ether in your hand and your discard pile to your hand. Complexity rating of 5. So set aside all the Forged Crystal and Forged Spark cards. These form the Forged deck. Cards in this deck can only be gained using Lost Heart Forge. The Forged Sparks and Crystals count as Sparks and Crystals respectively, and he's got some flavor text there. Then we have the Stop In deck, which is rather large, so I will set this out on the table for us. So here's all the new cards by type. So for our new Breach Mage Lost, here's his Heart Forge. So gaining an ether or destroy a spark or crystal in hand, gain a card of the same type from the Forged deck and place it into your hand. Of course, he's got some regular sparks, regular crystals, and his Forged crystals. So gain 2 instead of 1. And then Forged Spark deals 2 instead of 1 damage. Then more cards for the supply. We've got a gem, cost of 3, gain 2 ether. There is a lurking cyanite in any ally's discard pile, gain an additional money. Marble Galaxy. Any ally may discard a Marble Galaxy in hand and draw a card. Gain 1 charge or focus your closed breach with the lowest focus cost. If any ally discarded a Marble Galaxy, resolve both effects. Deluge of Power. The spell costs a 6, cast, deal 4 damage. Any ally may discard up to 2 cards in hand. They draw a card for each card discarded this way. Then we have randomizers for all the new content from the New Age box. Then we have some new level 1 treasure cards. So with this one, we'll gain an ether. Any ally may draw a card and then discard a card in hand. Gain an ether. You may place the top card of any ally's discard pile into your hand. Gain an ether. Gain an additional one that can only be used to gain a gem. This one, gain an ether. Reveal the top card of the turn order deck. You may place that card on the bottom or the top of the turn order deck. If you revealed a player turn order card, gain an additional money. And cast, reveal the top card of the turn order deck and then place it back on top of the turn order deck. If you revealed a player turn order card, deal 3 damage, otherwise deal 1 damage. Level 2, got a Thorned Whip. When a player opens a breach, that player deals 2 damage. Cleansing Amulet. After a player finishes resolving their ability, any player may destroy a card in hand. Core of Rage. Start of the game. Set this next to a spell or relic supply pile. When a player gains a card from that supply pile, they deal 2 damage. And Glutton's Tooth. The last card in a supply pile is gained or destroyed. Any player deals 6 damage. And our level 3 spells or treasure. Prism of Destruction. If you have no closed breaches, spells you cast deal 2 additional damage. That seems really good. Bladed Crystal. When you deal damage to the nemesis with a spell, that damage deals 1 additional damage. Brooch of Attunement. Once per turn, when you cast a spell that costs 6 ether or more, gain 2 charges. And Essence Extractor. When you play a gem that costs 5 ether or more, gain an additional ether. Then we have some Mage randomizers. So we've got one of these for, I'm assuming, all the mages. So this is from the base game, it looks like. Then the Depths. So they've covered all the expansions in here. The Nameless. War Eternal. The Void. And we've got, I can't read that one. My eyes aren't working. Then Legacy. If we bring those over from Legacy. And then the New Age. So if we want to go with random. And then if you're in expedition mode, this is for setting up your nemesis for each stage. So for battle 1, you can have Magoth, the Rageborn, Gladius, Carapace Queen, Umbra Titan, Spawning Horror, and Knight of Shackles. For 2, we've got Arachnos, the Blight Lord, Thrice Dead Prophet, Fungal Mesh, Crooked Mask, Prince of Gluttons, and Horde Crone. Battle 3, Ageless Walker, Maiden of Thorns, Hallow Crown, Magus of Cloaks, and the Wayward One. And then Battle 4, Fenric's Final Legacy Nemesis, Maelstrom Risen, the Wraithmonger, the Gate Witch, and Deathmind. Then we have some more Nemesis cards. Just some basics. We've got like 4 level 1s, 4 level 2s, and 4 level 3s. So we have Decimate, Blind Enigma, Plantar Collision, Spirit Snare, Mutilate, Needle Maul, Morbid Gyre, Gravity Splinter, Sunder, Topple, Monstrosity of Omens, and Doom Aegis. And that concludes our look into AEONS End New Age with the new Expedition mode. Hope you enjoyed these playthroughs, so please click on the like button below and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.